All right, so there's the Libra that we know and love coming up there. It's future energy. Sorry, guys. You guys are going to hate me. I want to kill me. But the future energy is I don't want to make a decision. And the advice is make a decision. That's your reading. That's basically your reading. But let's kind of go through it. Oh, God, I'm going to cough. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh at you. It's just funny. And I always offend Libras. And you know what? I keep putting my foot in it this week. I've offended so many people. I don't mean any offense to anyone. I just want to say this to you that I do laugh. And that's because I love the people that I love the most in the world, my inner circle. There are a lot of Libras. My mum's a Libra. My baby sister's a Libra. One of my best friends is a Libra, and I'm surrounded by Libras, and I love him. And it's like an inside joke that we have. So please take it as me just kind of joshing you. I know there's Libras that some of them are great at making decisions, and I always get someone that gets offended and saying, "Well, I don't have problems making decisions." Good, maybe you've got some like good, strong, firm placement somewhere. But that's the joke with Libras. Sorry, guys. So let's get into your reading. Page of Cups. Everyone's already switched off saying, yeah, well, you've given us the answer. Thanks, Shay. Page of Cups coming up here. Page of Cups. What are you feeling? What is this feeling that's kind of being born here? The pages are like aces for me. And it's kind of strange. I just did Virgo's reading and they got the Ace of Swords and the Page of Swords. But for you, no, sorry, they got the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Swords. That's what I'm trying to say. You guys got the pages. So this is more about what are you feeling? What's there? What needs to be explored? And I always see the pages as more of communication. It's just the beginning energy. Pages are, we call them immature. I don't think that's the right, they just lack the experience. They're just starting out. They're usually depicted as children, right? They don't have the experience. You're not going to expect the kid to know what a grown man or a grown woman would know, right? So here, no matter what age you are, the Page of Cups come up. This is a new budding emotion. Now, usually the Page of Cups has a little fish in his cup. Here she's got like a lotus flower or something. So to grow this, it needs to be nurtured. It needs to be grown. It needs to be given some care and attention. Look how it's lighting up. Do you have to tell someone that you love them? Is there something like that going on? It doesn't have to be straight. I mean, it's sometimes called the puppy love card, but it is an expression. Now, you might have received this. It is a general reading. It can go both ways. Somebody might have told you how they feel, or you're trying to figure out how you feel about someone. I'm going to say this. I don't know who this is, but it's almost as if, when you get it's not a crush so much, but you like someone. And with the 10 of Cups sat next to it, I can almost see someone. And I'm talking about, at school, when you're at school and where on the back of your like maths book, you're writing you're writing your name with the other person's last name. It's that kind of energy when you're kind of dreaming ahead and thinking, oh, what could come out of this? Now, that's not a bad thing. I've given that example because that's how I saw it. But with the 10 of Cups coming up, this is actually quite mature. You're thinking, okay, well, there's a budding emotion here, but what's the long-term solution here? Where's this going to go? Because the 10 of Cups is the happily ever after card. It's the end game. It's the heart's desire. It's pure contentment. You see this family here, right? So that's not a bad thing. This is a week where you're contemplating, what does my happily ever after look like? That might have changed. Maybe there's a new emotion coming in that's helping you to kind of see it, to even contemplate a new happily ever after. But I love this. I do love this energy. I'm sorry I've kind of gotten a bit carried away with your reading, but yeah, I love it. So we've got this Page of Cups, new emotion. Where is it going? And it is fresh and it is new. Now, that doesn't mean the situation has ended. But it does have that sense of a new cycle, fresh energy coming in. This might be renewed love for your job, for your family, for your partner, for whatever it is. But it's renewed. There's a new end game in town, or a new path to it at least. Because we have the World coming up as a past energy. That's the end. It's done. It's finished. This is the card for Saturn. And so it talks about a completion, but it says that karmic cycle is done. Now, trust me, I say this every time the World comes up. I've read for clients and the World comes up and they look at me like, Jay, I'm still stuck in the same situation or nothing's been done, because this is a successful completion. The World is actually a victory card. But most people don't feel victorious, and that's what Saturn's like, you know. It's karmically done. What that means is that you've jumped through every hoop, you've juggled all the knives, done whatever you had to do. You've learned all the lessons from that cycle. Now it's time for something new. And I think you know that. Instinctively, a lot of you can probably feel that already because that's coming up here. You wouldn't be thinking about what's my happily ever after. And that takes hope. So don't sell yourself short, Libra. You know, having that kind of hope of, can I even have a happily ever after? Can I have the fairy tale? You know, what does my dream look like? That takes guts. That takes balls to do that. Never let anyone tell you that it doesn't, because a lot of people don't dream. They won't dream because they're like, what if my dream doesn't come true? And then I'm going to be, you know, my expectations are not going to be met. And so people just kind of plod along, but you're not doing that. You're exploring this emotion. Some of you, I'll be honest, with the pages coming up, they can be children. This might be about an addition to the family for some of you. I mean, that's going to obviously be for like one or two of you, because not everyone's planning on having kids. But that is that kind of a week. It's a big change, because that changes the whole dynamic of how you saw your future. Maybe you didn't want to have kids before, now you're thinking about it. Page of Cups is the inner child for me. What does your inner child truly want? Because whatever these trials and tribulations were, and I'm really seeing them as that in your reading, they're done. Now, the world is transitional. It's not like it just ends tonight, the cycle ends, and tomorrow we begin a new cycle. So we can kind of feel in that transitional phase where we're like 1 foot in the past, kind of looking to the future, but, you know, there's still kind of this overlap of the past and the future. That can be going on for a while. But guess where you are right now? We have the Page of Swords. I like this. I know people always forget that Libra is an air sign. You know, one of the hashtags that I did, and I talk about this on Instagram once, was Libras aren't as fluffy as you think. I don't know why people have this kind of thing of that Libras are fluffy. Libras are very charming and lovely people, but they are air signs. So they are very logical. You guys are very logical, right? With the Page of Swords coming up here, this is getting more information. I'm getting the sense almost here. Think about it. I'm feeling something new. I'm dreaming of this new end game, but hang on a second. I went through all this before. I don't want to go through this again. So let's just stop for a moment and figure out, you know, what's actually going on. Let's be logical for a moment. So for some of you, you are going to have this head and heart thing going on. And you're not alone. A lot of the signs have been going through this. And that's actually a nice balance. A nice balance. I think it's a lot to do with like Venus and Mercury and all this stuff that's been going on. So with the Page of Swords coming up here, and that's Sagittarius season as well, right? Learning something new, figuring out, getting the information. What does our experience mean? The Page of Swords, the pages can be communication as well. Messages coming in or that we're sending out. I always say when this guy shows up, or this girl in this one, ask the questions. Because it kind of feels like the information that you get, it might not be all the information. Or you may not understand the full implication of what it means. Now, the interesting thing with that is if it sits underneath how you feel, who are you going to ask the questions from? Yourself? It's easy if someone has sent you a declaration of their emotion. Like, I feel like this. You know, friend, lover, whoever. With the Page of Swords there, this is like, well, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Get the information, because it's very easy when the Page of Swords comes up to kind of jump to a conclusion or to get the wrong end of the stick sometimes with that. Now, the thing is, when you kind of get that information, or maybe not even be when you get that information. Maybe it's here that you are already thinking, I don't want to have to make a decision. What's going on here? Because this person doesn't want to make a decision. They want to keep the status quo. Arms crossed in front of their chest. I don't want to see, I don't want to deal. I don't want to have to decide anything. Let's just keep things as they are. But it kind of feels like there's information that comes in here regarding this, whatever this is going on, head and heart stuff going on here. And it makes you question this, the Ten of Cups. That's why there's a change. I've got the sense that a lot of Libras are going to go into this week with one idea of what their happily ever after looks like. And they come out the other end, maybe wanting something completely different. Or there's a new direction to it, or there's something around your end game, you know, the wish, the goal, the dream, whatever it is, that changes. With that Two of Swords. Because ultimately, we have to put down one of the swords, right? We have to put down one of the swords. These are two truths. The two truths cannot exist together. Yes, I mean, two different people can have two different truths and we argue it out. And sometimes that can be this can be internal conflict. But this is asking you, Libra, put down one of those swords, pick a truth. What is your truth? Have a look at what's really going on here. Now, the blindfold isn't always a bad thing with the Two of Swords. Sometimes I see this as not reacting to what's around you and going within and figuring out what's going on in your head, like, because it's swords, thoughts, beliefs, ideas, and how we communicate them. But whatever the case, with these two swords coming up here, this is getting more information. Getting more information. What does the Two of Wands tell you to do? The Two of Wands is saying, hey, Libra, drop the swords, drop the blindfold. You know which way you want to go. This is a choice or a decision, yes, right? But it's sat underneath the world. Let's go back to the world for a moment. So whatever you learned from this cycle, and that's why it's a successful completion. This might have been a cycle you completed a while back. I always say that you will know what you learned from this cycle, because too many times people say, I didn't learn anything. You will, because a situation will come back round again. Doesn't have to be with the same people. Doesn't have to be the same company. Even the specifics of the situation aren't the same, but it feels the same. And the lessons that you learned in the last cycle, that's what you bring now. And so you pick a different direction. Libra, you're going in a new direction. That's the Two of Wands. That's the advice of the Two of Wands. If you keep doing what you did, you're going to keep getting what you got. Ask the questions, but focus on this. What does my end game look like? Which direction am I going to go? And it's kind of easy with the Two of Wands. Pick the direction that you've not gone in before. I always imagine it's the Page of Wands or the Knight of Wands that are standing there. And they're going to say, that's easy. That one looks familiar. That one doesn't. So let's go that way. If you keep doing what you did, you're going to keep getting what you got. If you want a new experience, then you have to do things that are different. And that the Two of Wands, ultimately, it is about action. It's about taking action. So yeah, there's an opportunity this week to go in a completely new direction. If you're not a Libra and you're watching this for a Libra or about Libra, don't be surprised if you see them. I mean, it's general. So some of you Libras might find your partners, or, you know, someone who's central to your story doing this. Thank you so much to everyone that's been there with me. Whether this is the first video that you're ever watching of mine, or whether you've been there with me from before YouTube was even a thing in the Aquarian Insight world, because I've had my website for quite a few years now. Some of you followed me on there when that was all that I was doing. I'm so blessed that you guys are all a part of my journey, and totally and completely honored that you would make me and my messages a part of your journey. I never take that for granted. So I love you guys very much. I will see you next time, but that's all for now. Goodbye.